Peace and love. I thought it would be fun to do a crystal reading, so let's go ahead and get started. I hope you're well. Start with my usual, light a little incense. Thank you, Spirit. Let's see what the crystal energies have to share with us today. And I'll do a little casting in the end as well. Thank you, Most High, for another day. Thank you, Spirit Team, angels, and ancestors, you know. Those who watch over me and protect me. Thank you for my healing and my strength. Thank you, Crystal Energy. What messages do you have for us today? What healing messages do you have for us today? Thank you so much. I call on my crystals for their unique vibrations. Messages of love, messages of healing, messages of strength. We have Morganite, relationship healing, black Tourmaline, which is actually my favorite crystal. We have protection, and we have agate for a healthy body. And we'll get a few more cards here from the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle cards. What messages do you have for us today to work with our crystal energy? Thank you so much. Thank you in advance. So some of us are going through a time right now of emotional healing. It says relationship healing. But we might be tender as we're going through these changes. And Spirit is saying to protect yourself, protect your body. Because you could be tired at this time. Anytime you're going through any type of spiritual transformation or any type of major change spiritually, it can cause the body to be a little bit on the tired side. And we also want to make sure that we're protecting our energy. So anytime we're working on the heart here with this relationship healing card, with that Morganite, pink stone. That stone makes me think of love, of course, when we think of pink, but it also makes me think about a tender or a childlike energy with that too. Inner strength, Rhiannon, and the Epona, earth magic. And then some of us are working on relationships at this time because we have Mary Magdalene and we have the sacred marriage on the bottom. So we give thanks for that. We have two cards here with Rhiannon and Epona. One was inner strength and one is earth magic. And I just wanted to show both of these to you because they both had horses on the back there, which makes me think that things are about to start moving forward for you if things have been stagnant for a while. But it also makes me think that you're looking for a sense of freedom, because I always think about horses wanting to run free. Also that you're powerful. And also too that you're obedient. I'm thinking about that as well. Not obedient when it comes to others, but obedient when it comes to your spirit, right? Obedient when it comes to following your intuition, because we have that moon there behind her. And that could also be the sacred marriage too, not necessarily between you and another person, but between you and your spirit. as you're learning to understand how your spirit wants to move forward, as you're learning to understand how your spirit wants to express yourself. The spirit is just a higher form of who you are. It's you, but it's the higher elevated version of you. And so when we're co-creating and we're working with our spirits in that way, it's raising us up to a point where we are accessing things differently, accessing knowledge, accessing parts of ourselves that we didn't know that we had before. So ultimately, that's the true sacred marriage, the sacred marriage between you and the self. Following our intuitions, being gentle, the way she's touching this horse here. She's being gentle with that horse. The thing about the moon, too, is the moon is a certain type of clarity, but it's hidden clarity. And a lot of people read the moon or talk about the moon in the form of it being a deceptive energy, lies and deceit. It's not really that. It's things that are hidden that have to be intuited. You have to intuit the information. It's things that you have to quiet the mind, and you have to access different parts of the mind to understand what's actually going on. So things could be unclear. Things could seem to be a little bit scary. Things could seem to be a little bit out of reach of your understanding, but be gentle with yourself, like she's being gentle with this horse, and quiet and still yourself, because these horses aren't in movement at this time. These horses have the ability to move fast, and they're very powerful animals, but in both of these pictures they're not moving, they're being still. They know they have the power, but they also have to exercise restraint too. And that kind of goes against the nature of the horse in my mind. But in this reading, it's knowing you have the power, maybe knowing you have the way forward, but in this particular phase, in this particular moment, you have to exercise strength. You have to quiet the mind, quiet the body, be gentle with yourself in the stillness for a moment here as you're waiting to access more information here because of the moon. We have this earth magic, which means that, of course, we always want to ground ourselves. And she has an amethyst on her, amethyst necklace on, which means she follows her intuition. She follows her higher knowledge. Interesting. So with all that said, Spirit is saying that you're in the process of a relationship healing. And like I said, the relationship can be between you and someone else, but you're repairing the relationship between you and yourself. That's really what this is about. It's about how you saw yourself, how you, whoever you thought you were, whoever you made yourself out to be, those parts of yourself that were scattered about, is slowly picking up those pieces and putting yourself back together the correct way. The correct way using stillness, the correct way using your intuition, the correct way using gentleness, being gentle with yourself as you're healing. It's picking up pieces and looking at them and analyzing them, the good parts. And it's and I'm going to say the good parts and the bad parts just because that's very simple to kind of say, but realizing in life that there's no good parts or bad parts. We're always learning and growing. There are always lessons to be learned. There are things that we need to heal from. So you're picking up those things that you need to heal from, and you're looking at them, and you're taking the time to analyze them. You're not rushing, because remember, that horse doesn't rush. That horse is going against that nature to move past that and to just bulldoze its way past it and go forward, and it's being still, right? It's being obedient to the fact that right now it's time for us to follow that moon energy and be quiet and be peaceful and be patient and waiting. So Spirit is saying now it's time for a relationship healing. You focus a lot on relationships with other people. You focus a lot on how you relate, how you are in relation to them. But have you ever focused on how you are in relation to yourself? And this is a blessing in life when we can spend time with ourselves. Sorry if you hear a little doggy outside, I have my window open. But it's a blessing in life when we can spend time knowing ourselves. Those moments are very precious. And whenever you can grab those moments, they're important. And so getting to know who you are, not with anyone else being involved, just with you, just in your own quiet space, just in your own mind and in your own heart. Spirit is saying it's time to focus on you now. It's time to focus on things that happened to you when you were a child, because I brought that up earlier with that pink stone always makes me think of this morganite. It's this relationship healing, but it's like the adult and the child. Returning to that childlike energy, or reflecting back on that childlike energy and thinking about who you were then, and those hurts and those pains and those things that caused you sadness, and those things that you couldn't explain at the time, and those things that you're still trying to understand now, right? And so we're asking that moon energy to shed light, because the moon energy is also works with the shadow. When we talk about the shadow, when I've talked about that beforehand, there's a video on here about that. The shadow is that side of us that it's nothing broken or wrong, right? It's just parts of us that need to be healed. And they can't be healed when they're hidden. They only can be healed when they're brought to the light. And shadows don't necessarily reveal themselves in the daytime with the sun energy, right? Shadows reveal themselves in the night. That's why people have nightmares, or people are afraid to go to sleep, or people are tossing and turning, or people are having difficulties and anxiety. You know, when things start to get quiet, they start to think, their mind starts to ruminate about whatever it may be. So the moon is where we start to access that energy, and we have to resist the urge to run forward like that horse. And we have to be gentle and be still and restrain ourselves and say, what's going on? What can I learn from Mother Moon? What can I learn from this energy that can aid towards my healing? What am I not accessing? Spirit, please allow me to see it. Because this is the time when you can still your mind and see it. That nighttime, when you can be quiet and when you can be alone, when you can think. With no TV, with no computer, with nothing, just you. Maybe if you want to turn on a little bit of music or something light, that's fine, but with no distractions. No one talking to you. Even if you go outside on your porch or go outside for a walk, if you feel safe, and just be with that moon energy and allow it to pour itself over you. And you can talk with the moon too, These things are real. They're real to me. Moon, what energy do you have for me? Mother Moon, what energy do you have for me? What am I not seeing? What parts of myself do I need to bring to the surface for healing? And as we're doing that, we have to be brave. And that's another thing, that the aspect of the horse too is courage and bravery, because the horse just moves forward, right? The horse just moves, it flies free. It's not thinking about restrictions. I mean, there are restrictions when it comes to humans and reining in and, having to be in a stable and having that type of life. But if you're a wild horse, you're running free. So I lost my train of thought there, but I was there for a moment. But still, that's what I was saying. You have to have courage. And the horse teaches us courage with that movement and that freedom and that power of movement forward. But anytime we want to access parts of ourselves, things that are hidden, things that we don't quite want to see, or things that we can't see, it's a tendency to become a little afraid. What will happen if I think about these things? And people talk about triggers now. Like, don't bring it up. It's a trigger. That's the opposite of what you want to do. Triggers are not to be hidden. If it's major trauma, if you need someone to help you work through it, that's understandable. And so I'm not making light of anybody's triggers. But this whole way of living now, where we don't want to discuss things that bring us pain, we don't want to talk about things that have hurt us in the past, because it might send us in a spiral. But who says there's something wrong with going in a spiral? As long as you don't stay there. What's wrong with accessing emotions? What's wrong with having a crying fit? What's wrong with going into a dark space for a moment if you can come out? Now, if you can't come out, you need someone to kind of come. If you get a spiritual advisor or a person who loves you deeply, to be there with you or to help you as you're going through and navigating through some emotions. Even if you talk to your guides. But some, if you don't feel comfortable talking to your guides, if you don't feel like that's tangible enough, you can write in a journal. So never making light of anybody's trauma, but just the idea and the knowledge that trauma is not supposed to be hidden. It's supposed to be brought to the surface for healing. And however that healing may come about, for whoever it may be, that's the way it comes about. If you're not destructive, if you're not killing parts of your body, if you're not doing things to hurt yourself and others, if you're feeling uneasy, if you're crying, if you're feeling afraid, if you're feeling unsure, these are parts of life. These are parts of the human experience that we don't want to talk about, but they're necessary. It's necessary for healing. And so we want to be in that horse energy where we want to have the courage to run free, but we also want to have that restraint, and we also want to be able to stay still so that we can access the information that we need to know. We need to know those parts of us that need to heal. You're protected right here with the black tourmaline. Not only to protect yourself as you're going through healing processes, which means you have people around you that love you. That is so important. If you don't have people around you that love you, then you can be in solitude. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid of being alone. Don't be afraid of being in solitude. I spend most of my time in solitude. If I'm not at work or with my son or other people, I'm spending most of my time in solitude. And what happens in solitude is you talk to yourself. And I've talked about this a lot in my readings, where you get to know yourself more. You get to know those pains. You get to know those triggers and those things that cause you to want to run free and to run, not necessarily free, but just to run forward, not even stop and just go. Just go. And so Spirit is saying that you make sure that you protect yourself. You protect yourself in your environments. You protect your heart. You protect those tender places. If there's someone who hurts you and brings up and triggers and tries to bring those things up without that healing, if they're not offering anything and they just want to hurt you, then these people need that black tourmaline treatment, right? We need to hit them with the be gone. Seriously. If they're not loving us enough to be tender with us while we're healing, if they want to throw daggers at us while we're healing, these aren't good people. And we talk about that a lot in the readings, when you need to start discerning who's good and who's bad, who's healthy for you and who's not, who's feeding you good food and who's feeding you garbage, right? It's two different people, two different energies. You should be able to feel it. As you become more spiritually aware, more heightened, your vibration will change. And those energies feel quite heavy. They feel needy, they feel draining, and they feel heavy. They feel scattered. People where you are confused around them in their presence. People that you feel tired in their presence. People that you just want to run away. People who just talk and have nothing to say. People who just, it goes on, the list goes on. But the bottom line is, protect yourself from those who do not love you. Know when there's love in your environment. Know when there's love in someone's speech. Know when there's true love in someone's heart. It's important. You don't have to talk to a person for every day to know that they have love in their heart. You can meet somebody once a year and you meet them that next year and you say, oh, this person still loves me. That type of love and that type of vibration, that type of energy doesn't leave a person. It stays with them. It's a part of who they are. That's what we're trying to be when we work, walking with that loving energy daily. It's a part of our fabric. We're allowing our spirits to be on the outside. We're allowing that part of us to navigate us and move us forward. That's that horse energy. That horse is pure spirit. The horse isn't thinking about the restrictions. And like I said, restrictions are placed on the horse, but in its natural state, it's not thinking of restrictions. It's thinking of freedom and movement, right? And so that's the spirit. That's a good example of the energy of the spirit. The spirit doesn't deal in restrictions. The Spirit deals in pure movement forward, pure freedom of expression, freedom of ideas, freedom of love. It's not a restrictive energy. What happens is we live in a society that places restrictions. We talk about this all the time. It places restrictions on the self. And then you become something that could be like this, grand and big, and you're reduced to this much space. And so the Spirit, which is as big as it could, bigger than we can imagine, that energy is restricted to this space. What can we do when we restrict our spirits like that? What can we do when we tell our spirits to take the back seat? I don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm not that person. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to think about those type of things. I don't want to talk about that type of stuff. I'm doing this right now. I'm focused on this. This is what I'm doing. This is the goal. This is the plan. I already have my plan. I have my plan. I knew what I was going to do, and now you telling me that I need to do this. Who are you anyway? It's you, right? It's your higher self. It's that higher knowledge. Not only are you to protect yourself from those who do not love you, please learn to understand and discern love, right? Spirit is saying that you are protected by your loved ones in the spirit realm, your angels, your ancestors, your guides, the Creator, the Most High, that particular energy. When I talk about the Most High, it's not that I'm picturing a man or a woman. It's not that for me. It's the largest energy that there is. It's the energy of everything. It's creation. It's art. Art at its highest form. Art past the genius level, right? That's that energy. And so Spirit is saying that you're protected right now because your angels see that you're doing the work because you've been scheduled to do the work. You're doing it at the right time. This is when you're supposed to be doing the work. Everything that led up to this moment was supposed to happen. Now you're here. Don't think about the past and don't think about things being too late. Don't think about, why did it take so long? Why have I gone so long without thinking of myself? These are the lessons that we learn. Some people never get to this point at all where they're even doing the relationship healing. So, quickly, let's take a moment and just give thanks. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a hug. Give thanks for that emotional healing that you realize needed to be done. What happens when we start to repair the parts of the self? When we're healing ourselves, when we're uniting with the higher self, what happens with the body? The body becomes healthier. Your sleep rhythms start to change. You're sleeping more. You're more refreshed in the morning. Your aches and pains suddenly start to disappear. Because we also have to realize that some of this stuff is brought on emotionally, too. You start to walk a little bit, with a little bit more energy. You start to want to dance, right? You want to wake up early. You want to go outside for a walk. You want to eat some good food. Your body is craving good food. You start to feel yourself more, too. So if your body's not feeling right, you're not denying it. You're in tune with your body. You're in tune with what you're eating. You know right away that something has caused you, pain or caused you discomfort. You're paying attention to yourself. It's like paying attention to the world around you. We've been conditioned to pay attention to the world around us, and we don't think about ourselves. We don't think about our emotional or physical needs. And while we're doing that, the body is suffering. The mind is suffering. So Spirit is saying, as you're working towards these changes, you're healing your body. You're healing your body. As you're going towards this sacred marriage, you're grounding yourself with this earth magic. You're going outside and you're spending time with Mother Earth. You're looking at the trees. You're touching the bark. These type of things. This is medicine. This is real world medicine. This is spiritual medicine. These are things that they don't talk about, but this is the true essence of it all. You walk outside and you get that fresh air. You go and sit somewhere and you feel the sun on your skin, you know. Not because you're out there tanning, you know, not that. It's not about that. It's about feeling that sun on your skin and giving thanks for life. Because that's the purest form of life force energy that we know. If we pinpoint anything that brings us alive every day and animates the world, it's the sun. It's not anything else that's man-made. It's nothing that we can say, you know, we're not robots, we're humans. And the sun animates our morning, noons, and nights. And the moon as well regulates. These are living energies. This is life force energy, right? And so when you go out there and you're in the sun, not just because you're out there, but you're saying thank you. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the gift of animation. Thank you for the gift of healing. I love to go out and sit out and meditate and talk with the sun and give thanks. But not just the sun, Mother Earth as well. I give thanks for the birds. I give thanks for the trees. I give thanks for all parts of creation, all parts of that art that's been created that I don't necessarily know or understand the origins, but I give thanks for them because that's the magic that we talk about. And I didn't show this one at the bottom. This was sunstone here. Empowerment. Underneath that we have crocodile. I don't think I've ever seen this one before, but this is sexuality. So some of us are healing things that brought trauma when it comes to our sexuality. Could have been things from childhood. Could be many things. So when I'm saying that healing is easy, it's not. When I'm saying that these things, I'm not taking them lightly at all. These things are powerful. But I'm saying that all things that bring pain, all things that bring sorrow, all things that keep us from feeling good about ourselves need to be addressed. We have the cowrie shell, and it was flipped over. For me, that means that whether you're masculine or feminine, you need to access the feminine parts of yourself more. You need to access that intuition, and that's kind of what we were talking about with that moon energy. You need to delve into the sensitivities. You need to not be afraid of the emotional body. You need to not be afraid of being vulnerable, because the healing lies in that. Also, when this comes out, this is ancestral to me. This means that your ancestors, whoever they are, they love you. And even though they may seem hidden, because this is flipped backwards, which means that you kind of have to look in here to see, it's kind of this shadow, it's like a shadow inside here. Even though they may seem hidden, they're not hopping out like, hey, I'm here, were you waiting for me? It's not that type of energy. You might not have ever known that they were there with you, but they are. And so this is what they're saying, that they're with you. And this is also a deep ancestral energy too for me. It means that there are people who love you in the spirit realm that go way back. Not just your great-grandma, great-great-grandma, great-great, it's beyond that. It keeps going and going and going. It's the spirit family. And this right here, which fell on the earth magic, it's just a shell, but it's smooth. And this always makes me think about difficulties in life, and we think about how the shell is, the smoothness is formed, how the shells, sometimes the back and forth motion of the sea and grinding across the sand and being pulled back out and pulled back in, and that particular motion, how it makes some of the surfaces smooth over time. And so this always makes me think about things that happen in time, hardships over time that start to create a surface that becomes smooth. So something that was once rugged and something that was once jagged and maybe brought pain will be smooth in the end, or you will become smooth like the shell over time, or just that things happen over time. And so this means that your healing is happening, but it will take time, but it's happening, right? This is Apache Tears, but this is just a small black stone. But this also deals with protection and protecting your energy. This is like a volcanic stone, volcanic rock. Also something that was formed from something very powerful, right? Sometimes the revelations of things from the past, even though they bring us pain, they can bring us power. And this was formed from a powerful motion, right? And it's also made smooth in time. And this is Apophyllite here. I'm trying to think about the name of this one. Clarity, strength, and wisdom that comes from clarity. You see how clear the stone is? Also how sharp it is. It means your mind is sharp. It means you understand and know exactly what needs to be done. It also makes me think about an arrow. It means that you know the direction that you need to go in. Not only do you know what needs to be done, you know where you need to go. This also makes me think about, because these are stones that deal in high frequency and they're high vibrational crystals, which means that we can communicate with the spiritual realms and the angelic realms with these type of crystals. And so Spirit is saying that you're in communication with your spirit team. You're in communication with your angels. And this also makes me think about a house when I see it. I don't know. But it's saying that you're moving towards your true home. That's what I get from this. You're moving towards your true home. And that you may not see it now, because there's still this element of things not being seen, with the card being flipped. But in time, with these two stones about time, in time, things that were once rugged, and things that were once bumpy, and things that you were once unsure of will become smooth. It'll be like smooth sailing, right? And so then you can be that horse and you can move towards freedom. Not right now, though. And Spirit is saying, when you're ready, your home will be presented to you. And you'll have the clarity, and you'll have the wisdom, and you would have the healing needed to move forward towards that destination. All right. Until next time. Love you.